Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I love the sound of that tension on that last chord. Very cool. All right, we got a minor chord with the minor sixth hanging over top of it. Very cool. So we're going to learn a little bit about harmony in this as well as the solo part. We're going to break this up into 2 lessons. The first one will be this rhythm part that you just heard. Kind of a history to it as well as the rhythm part. Kind of goes back to some traditional tunes like St. James Infirmary. That's one that does that same kind of rhythm, maybe in a different key, but very similar. Another one is 16 tons. 16 tons, so what do you get? Another day older and a deeper in debt. And Rita, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I sold my soul to the company store. Okay, so that's 16 tons. That's another traditional, or Merle Travis did a great version of that. I suggest you look it up here on YouTube. Really great. More up-to-date, straight cat strut. Ooh, where are we here? C minor. Okay, those are, again, just a different key here. Same, similar kind of idea, okay? In this case, we're going to look at the 2 ways to do this and how they're a little bit different. Okay, let's go back up to F minor here. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more like maybe a more intermediate lesson. We don't really have one for beginners right now, but maybe follow through it a little bit and you'll learn something here too. F minor up on the 8th fret, and that's that bar shape based on the A minor bar chord. You know, taking it like this and moving it up to an F. Okay, now the first way of doing this would be the one that maybe fits a little bit more like the straight cat strut thing there. Okay, I call that like the simpler version, and that's a cool one to learn for sure too. Okay, if you're on F minor, you start with that, and this whole rhythm's sort of a bounce. It's the bass note, bounce on the chord. Then let's go down to an E flat in the bass, okay, on the bass note, and that's on the 6th fret of the A string, and then just play it as a major chord. Then go down to a D flat, and then play a C, okay? All right, and that C, what that C does is that C pulls very strongly to come back to the F minor, okay? So that's the 5 of, okay? So it's a secondary dominant chord. And that makes this progression into sort of a continuous loop. Okay, so with that progression, you get that down, you can learn a handful of songs based on that. Do it down on C minor, and you got straight cat strut like I was saying there. C minor, just go down to a B flat major, A flat major, to a G major. All right, so you can learn a few tunes based around that. Now what we're going to do for this song that I just played that cool swing solo over, that's a version of a song called Six Appeal, and that solo was Charlie Christian's, really the first electric guitar solo player. Really fantastic. He was also inducted a few years ago into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You should check him out. And of course, this is a little sort of a promotion for my ebook based on Charlie Christian's playing and how to learn to develop your solos based around chord shapes. Okay, so let's take a look here at these chord inversions that make up the rhythm part for this arrangement of Six Appeal. Okay, so F minor, you know there. And what we're doing is, instead of taking just blocky major chords down like this, okay, we're going to go take that F minor, we're going to put it into an inversion. Okay, we're going to go down to that E flat, and with the E flat in the F minor, it actually becomes an F minor 7 chord. Okay, and the E flat being down here, we flip it into an inversion of this F F minor 7, okay? And that inversion goes like this. You can kind of visualize it by looking at sort of like the F minor as being this arpeggio, which is sort of based around that C shape. Okay, that would be like a C minor shape. Okay, you can learn more about these shapes and everything in any of my ebooks or DVDs. Okay, that shape there is really important. And instead of having the F in the bottom of that, we put the E flat in the bottom. All right, so that gives us this. All right, might be a little bit difficult to see how I'm fingering it there. Sort of a clump of fingers. I've got these two holding down here. Pinky on the 6th fret, okay? Pointer finger on the 5th fret here, the G string, and then these two next to one another. Okay, now the next thing to do is to keep this bass note moving down. Okay, and in the arrangement of 6 appeal, I wanted to hear this note here, which is the major 6th, okay? And that over top of the minor chord gives it a really tense kind of sound, which is really cool for this. Okay. So the last note in his solo is actually, all right, you heard me playing that. Okay, that's why I decided for the arrangement you gotta include that in the rhythm. Okay, you can't go down to this one. All right, it's got to be. All right, so that would actually make it really be a D half diminished 7th chord. Okay, and that's the same upper cluster of notes here, based around this, right, that we learned a second ago. And then we're just going to move down to a C 7th chord, fingered like this. Okay, it's like that major bar, but you've got to get this 3rd fret B flat in there on the G string. Okay, and that's done just by barring across here and then only fingering these two. Okay, so all together those chords are. That's a really cool rhythm. It's got a nice bounce to it. All right. The chord progression overall for the 6 appeal solo section, which is what this is all about, is 3 times through this. Then we got 2 bars of C7. Okay, and that's a pretty simple thing to do for like a swing jazz kind of rhythm here. Just alternate that bass, okay, so it's not just sitting static on that one C7 chord. It gives you a little bit of motion. Okay, and then we've got this stop time thing that happens. Okay, and there's F minor to C7, okay, and that's just this C major shape here, bar turned into the C7 chord. Okay, and then it comes around and goes to the C sharp diminished 7th. Okay, that kind of gives it a little tension. I think when I played it, I went. Okay, so kind of climbing into that, and that's the typical like swing guitar sort of rhythm. And then we're back into this. So you get that rhythm under your fingers there. Practice that and get that warmed up. That's a really cool accompanying rhythm to play. And like I said, that also bridges the gap for a few other tunes too. Shovel 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. All right, so you got those that you can do too, you know. You can work on straight cat struts if you want. All right, so we're going to take a pause here, okay, and then we're going to come back in another post and another video and do the solo that you heard before, and we'll go step by step through that, and that's a little bit more advanced, but I want you to see how it connects to these chord shapes. It makes a really cool thing and kind of helps you get off on your own feet for playing in this kind of style. All right, see you in a moment.